My father had died, I believe it was in 2001. I was living in Ventura, California at the time. I had my own condo. Over the next couple of years after that, I don't know, something inside me changed. I just didn't want to live in California anymore. I always had aspirations of living on an island in Southeast Asia somewhere. It was right around 2003, I guess, 2000, early 2004 maybe. Um, this was during Operation Enduring Freedom, and Operation Iraqi Freedom was to follow not long after that. So I had taken a job on a car carrier, and I made a trip on a couple other ships after that. So I'm going to begin this series talking about those few ships and what happened. This was a different time in my life. Uh, Again, more changes were coming. So stay tuned. I'm the Saipan Sailor, and this is Chapter 1 of Iraqi Freedom. I took a job on an old car carrier, and we made a couple of trips to Denmark and France. And then we got a contract with the military to carry military cargo over to Turkey. This was during Iraqi Freedom. It was right before the military got the green light to invade Iraq. The ship, we got to Turkey, and it was a Navy pier. The heck is that noise? Uh, we got there, and captain wired into the Navy, called in, said we have cargo to discharge. And Navy was like, oh, no, 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 no. No, you're not tying up here. Go away, go. We don't want anybody here right now. And they went back and forth, and the captain told him, look, I can't go anywhere until we discharge this cargo. And so I guess those guys on the pier were waiting for someone higher up in the command to tell them, go ahead, let them tie up and discharge. So they said, all right, go ahead, come on in. We'll discharge your cargo for you, and you get out of here immediately. While we were tied up to the pier, we were there a couple of days. I walked out on deck just to get some fresh air, have a look around. And as I looked down on the pier, I noticed we had cargo down there that was being unloaded. And of all things that should have been there, and of all things that should have not been there, what was there, that wasn't there the day before, was a CNN van. Now, They didn't want us there. Oh, but a CNN van, they could just drive up on a pier anytime they want. Well, there they were. But I didn't see any journalists or reporters or anything, thank God. And I remember being in a mess hall talking to one of the local Turkish fellas, and we were looking out the porthole, and he pointed off in the distance. He said, "You see that mountain range?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "The other side of that mountain range, that's Iraq." I thought, "Oh, okay." So we left there, went back to the U.S., and I went home. Sometime later, I took a job on another military ship. This ship was in Diego Garcia, and I think I've mentioned that place before. It's in the Indian Ocean. It's a British territories. I think it's U.S. Naval Armory or something. But when I got there, the ship I was supposed to join was circling the island for a week because there were 30 ships there and only 27 anchorages, as I remember. So three ships had to be circling around, and I guess they played musical chairs. Three they'd come in and three more would leave. So I spent a week on a Navy base waiting. Well, there was this Coast Guard inspector staying in one of the barracks next to mine, and he and I would talk. I'd see him. He'd go out, do an inspection, come back, and we'd talk. We talked about Asia, different places. He didn't know at the time, but it was my conversations with him that convinced me to sell my house when I got home and come to Southeast Asia. I joined the ship eventually. We sat there maybe a month, and then all of a sudden, one by one, the ships started to leave, and a convoy headed for the Gulf of Oman. Our number came up, and we left too. We went into a place called Camp Shawaiba, um, somewhere near Dubai. I know it was fairly close to Dubai, I think. But that's where we discharged, and we went back to the U.S., and I went home after that. That job was only a 4-month relief job, but that was with a company that I used to work for, General Dynamics, whom I had lost a permanent job with, on the Navy base in Ventura, California. Um, so that 4-month job, I figured was my foot back in the door with them. When I got home, sold my house, put the check in the bank, bought a ticket out here, and I've been living out here ever since. That was in '04. Not long after I got here, my daughter was conceived. So I put her mother in an apartment and got a flight back to LA because I was running low on cash. I left them a bunch of money. When I got to LA, I went to the Union Hall and I registered. Now, Iraqi freedom had just began, and they just had the big, what they call the big breakout, when they broke out all those mothballed uh, military transport ships, and they were gone. I missed it. A job came up on a Keystone ship. I can't remember the name of the vessel, but they wanted an MSC physical, military, done by the Navy, the Military Sea Lift Command, which I didn't have. But the agent told me, well, here, they're paying for it. Just go ahead and take the physical anyway. That way you'll have it if another job comes up. So I took the physical, and it was 3 or 4 days before my results for my drug test came back. And I went back to the hall with it, and they said, well, the company said they'll accept you, but you have to wait 3 months. And I looked at the agent and I said, you know how many things are going to happen between now and 3 months from now? He just hunched his shoulders. All right. I went back to the hotel that day, and it took every fiber in my body to get out of bed that next morning and go back to the Union Hall. I was so depressed. I had maybe $1,500 left cash for me to live on. This is how things can get in this industry. It's almost like being a car salesman. You never know when that next deal is going to walk through the door. So I got to the hall, and I'm sitting there, my head hung down. Nobody there. I mean, nobody. Maybe a few hours passed by, and all of a sudden the dispatcher leaned over the counter, looked at me, and he said, we need an electrician on the Cape Island. Now, have you ever heard of anyone or the dead coming back to life? That was me. I sprang out of that seat like a jack in a box. I snatched the work order out of the dispatcher's hand, and the next thing I knew, I was on a plane headed for Tacoma, Washington. I'll talk about that ship and the other sister ships. There's 4 of them. We call them the Cape Eyes. They were nice steamships, and it was a great job. But that's coming in the next episode. I want to wish you all clear skies and calm seas. I am the Saipan Sailor, and this was Chapter 1 of A Rock of Freedom.